What's up, gang? Wes here. So I am currently in the middle of producing two other videos. So this is kind of a filler video, but it's of a topic that I've actually gotten quite a bit lately, or a lot of discussion around my art circle. And it's something that I've covered in the past, but it's been like 3 years. So I thought, let's do an updated version of this topic. I have a little bit more experience with the topic now, so I can come at it from a slightly different angle, but it also gives me an excuse to work on a piece of fan art I'm working on. So I'm replaying for the second time the Final Fantasy VII remake, because I have the new one, Rebirth, that I need to play. I just don't really have time yet. So I wanted to replay, remake, a lot of re's in that. Wanted to replay that, kind of get caught up mentally, and my love of Final Fantasy VII goes a long way. So yeah, doing that, and I thought, what better piece of fan art to do than one of my favorite parts of the original Final Fantasy VII, where Tifa and Cloud are in Midgar. They are in kind of the park around the section housing, and yeah, really cool moment. So let's render out some of this. I already have a majority of the colors and the blocking in done. I just now need to go and refine it. So we're going to do that. And we're going to talk about if having fan art is actually a good idea in your professional portfolio. So let's take a look. Let's start painting. Let's talk about this topic. All right, so we're here. We have kind of these beautiful colors. So before we get into the topic, as usual, I want to discuss a little bit about the painting itself. So this painting has been a lot of fun to do, and there's a few reasons why. One, there's, two characters in it, and they're actually posing, they're doing something, they're sitting, but they each have their own distinct personality, even within just how they're sitting. Also, the perspective is kind of fun because dealing with essentially a 3-point perspective, but kind of a narrow focal lens, is a pretty cool idea. You can get a lot of information in on the canvas, and yeah, it's fun. I really did a lot of Rebel and Art Rage to get this thing started. As you can tell by the slightly dirtier brushes, the big, thick, kind of impasto look that we have right now. And then I imported this into Clip Studio Paint, and I'm going to kind of refine it there. Clip Studio has been my go-to lately for refinement. It used to be Photoshop, and on certain very specific things, it still is Photoshop. But with Clip Studio, I just enjoy how it can bridge the gap between something as pixel perfect as a Photoshop and something a little bit more wet media or traditional media, like a Rebel or Art Rage or what have you. So yeah, a lot of fun. I think my favorite part about this one so far is actually the value control. So this is a pretty dark painting as far as values. You have your darker midtones make up a majority of it, and it really lets you go in there and get some nice, rich, saturated colors. The more I use the blues and greens, I think cyan, the equal mix between blue and green, is probably my favorite color, period. I've noticed it lately in the past few years. A lot of my paintings have cyan in them, even if I don't plan it that way. But I'm really liking how the dark blues, kind of the purple, that cyan, it really lets the greens pop. Just this one's a lot of fun to do. And also kind of the structure of what they're sitting on. It has a good, the piece itself has a good composition, and I cannot take credit for that. This is just a screen grab from the game. But it's such a good one that I wanted to kind of put it through its paces. I wanted to see, hey, I like these colors. I could probably do some big brush strokes for kind of the water tower, the water, or the wooden water tower with the wood panels and stuff, without having to go in and really render a bunch of stuff, but still have it look interesting and like some thought was put into it. So just a lot of fun. Great series, great music, great game. If you haven't played it yet, do yourself a favor. I even recommend the original one. That's the one I played in '97. Loved it. Probably one of my favorites. I think it's in my top 5 ever. I need to look back at that video series I made years and years ago. But yeah, fantastic game. So let's talk about this. So fan art. So as a professional, I have done portfolio reviews. I've also had my portfolio reviewed by other professionals. And back in 2004, 2005, to 2007-ish, this is whenever I was in art school. So 20 years ago, which is still a crazy statement for me to say. But 20 years ago, I'm in art school. And one of the main things is in a professional portfolio, you would never, ever, ever, ever put fan art in there. Ever. It was almost like it was a sin. You would almost be blacklisted because there was the thought at the time that people don't want to see your take on something that already exists if the take is exactly the same as what already exists. So, I'm going to make Batman. Well, what Batman are you going to make? Are you going to make your version of Batman, or are you going to just make a painting of Batman because you like Batman? There was a lot of this kind of, holding the nose, thumbs down type of attitude. But I'm happy to say that's kind of flipped. That's kind of pulled a 180. And I think there's a lot of reasons for this. So I will just come out and say it right now, even before we get too far into this. I got hired for Star Wars because I made fan art of Star Wars. I got hired for Warhammer 40,000 because I made fan art of Warhammer 40,000. There's no doubt in my mind that is true because the art directors that hired me told me as much. Hey, we saw your painting of Boba Fett. We are making a card game of Boba Fett. Would you like to paint Boba Fett? It is the most direct inline thing that's ever happened in my career. Yes, put fan art in your portfolio. Do it. It does a multitude of things for you. One, you get to work on something you like because you like it. For no other reason. That should be reason enough, right? You like it. Number 2, it shows other artists and art directors where your interests are. What are you interested in? What do you find passionate? What is something that you really like, you could talk about forever, that you've grown up with, or kind of whatever your story is with this thing? It shows you have passion and an understanding of the material, which is another thing. Art directors, and I can only speak from kind of the illustration, entertainment, marketing art side of things. I've done a little bit of concept art, but I would not at all consider myself a concept artist. I'm more of just, I'm an illustrator, I have a painterly style, and I work in the fantasy and sci-fi realm. That's it. Anything else, it could be book covers, video games, board games, comic books, whatever. I'll work in whatever. It's just, those are my themes. I really like those themes, so that's kind of where I stick. So a lot of times, art directors will hire the person who is the least risky. I know I've said this before, and it's something that whenever I heard it and I found it to be true, it really resonated with me, is you do not have to be the best. You don't have to be the best. You have to be the least risky option. You have to be money in the bank. Can we rely on this person to give us results in a timely manner, not be a diva? Are they going to work well with others? Can they handle constructive criticism? Can they play nice? Did they meet deadline? Hopefully they got it in early. Do they work within budget? Can they pivot when needed? Do you know what I mean? That's the stuff that gets you hired and it gets you rehired. But there's no real way to know how good you're going to draw Spawn if you've never drawn Spawn before. Does that make sense? I know if I was an art director for a company, the first thing I would do is go to an art station or a Behance or some big collective, maybe even Insta or, maybe not TikTok or whatever, but, an image based service. And I would look up the thing I work for. Star Wars fan art. Click. Let me look at this stuff. Okay. I know as an art director, that would probably save me a lot of time. You might have some names on your short list already, but you're going to go through your discovery phase. You're going to want to try to go find people that know about this IP, that have a genuine appreciation and love for it. And what better way than to use your skills and your developing skill set or your professional skill set or whatever in showing your appreciation of the IP. Now, don't there's this weird thing that I've seen, and this part is a no-no. Do not put official logos on stuff if you did not work on that project. If you did not work on that, don't put that thing's logo on there. Does that make sense? Because I know with Star Wars, a lot of people will put the Star Wars logo and then under it in little letters put fan art. You're getting kind of... it's almost you're doing a false bill of goods. People see the Star Wars logo and they see your stuff and they're like, oh, you worked on Star Wars? And then you click and then it's like, oh, it's just fan art. Which, for the art director, they may not care. But for your fan base or people looking at stuff, they're interested. A lot of people are interested to see what have you officially worked on? You know what I mean? And it's kind of like a stamp of pride on a portfolio. If you get hired for a big gig and you get to put the official logos on it, that's part of the that's how you kind of made it, So I would steer away from putting official logo stuff on thumbnails or, don't mislead your audience. And that's just, that might just be an integrity thing for me. I know a lot of people do it and it's fine and nothing ever happens and stuff. I don't know. I just don't want to risk it. I don't want to, the only way I'm putting official logos on my stuff is if I worked on that property, got the okay from the people that own it. You know what I'm saying? That's part of that, the badge of honor, at least for me. But go ahead and make comic book fan art. Go ahead and make versions of your own characters. See if you can develop a character that could exist in the Batman animated series style. What if this was a villain in the cartoon? Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, go ahead and make that stuff because that's what people want to see. That's what directors, especially the people hiring for artists, want to see is, do you understand the style? Whenever we onboard you for a project, are we going to have to spend, 2 months training you what our art direction looks like? Or are you quick enough that you just pick it up, that you already know it? You see what the big shapes are. You see that we, develop things in silhouette and then we kind of work outside in and big to small. And, there's a lot of art vernacular in kind of inside baseball terms. But by studying it, it's the same way you study a master study. It's the same way, I'm going to do a Caravaggio painting. You're going to learn a lot about Caravaggio doing a master study. You're also going to learn a whole lot about comic book art by doing a study of Jim Lee or Jack Kirby or, Todd McFarlane or, the names go on and on. But do the master studies, do the work, put in the work. Can you tell what the difference is between the different eras of Spider-Man? If your dream is to work on Spider-Man, that's probably a good idea to have in the back pocket. It's probably decent to know, to have that kind of knowledge and be able to bring it up on a whim and be able to do multiple styles. I know a lot of people that learn instruments. Let's say there's 3 or 4 different artists that play an instrument. Namely, I'm thinking of guitar right now. These guitarists that have been on board with one act, but has gone through different musicians. Perfect example is Ozzy Osbourne. That's actually who I'm thinking of right now. He's had so many different guitar players. Every one of those guitar players plays individual songs differently. Whenever you're playing Crazy Train, whenever you're learning Crazy Train on the guitar, There is a Randy Rhoads way to play it. There is a Jakey Lee way to play it. There is a Zach Wilde way to play it. There's a Gus G way to play it. Like, each person plays the song in their own way, but what makes those people different? How can you differentiate the sounds? So in visuals, it's the same thing. Look at all the artists that worked on Batman. Look at all the artists that have worked on Spider-Man. What is the difference between a Jim Lee Batman and like a Jock piece or something? You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be differences. And not only can you see them and name them and put words to them, can you emulate that? Are you able to adapt? Are you able to kind of pivot when needed? That's a very important skill set. Now, I will say my advice comes from a place of an illustrator, not a concept artist. If you're a concept artist, my advice would be more so on the, hey, do something in the style of, like, oh, I really like Samurai Jack. I really like that kind of Clone Wars Samurai Jack style. Let me make some characters in that style. Don't do fan art of Samurai Jack necessarily. You still could. I still think you could definitely do it, and it would be a nice boon to your portfolio. But I think the idea that you're selling yourself as a creator of concepts should be shown in your portfolio. Like, what concepts are you showing me in your portfolio? Does that make sense? A lot of people use their portfolio just as like, here's my best painting. Cool. If you're wanting to be a just like marketing art painter, great. If you want to be a splash artist for League of Legends, awesome. Or like Smite or somebody, great. Show us your best splash pieces. Like, let's see if you can hang with the big dogs, But whenever you're going into like concept art or costume design, or let's say you really enjoy landscapes, you want to be an environmental artist as far as like matte painting and backdrops, but all you have is fan art of like Spider-Man. That doesn't make a lot of sense. You know what I mean? You just have to tailor your portfolio to the job that you're wanting. And another just small piece of advice just about portfolios in general, do not put something in your portfolio that you do not want to do over and over. I guarantee the one type of thing that you put in your portfolio that you don't like very much, that will be the thing you get hired for over and over and over and over and over. It never fails, ever. Oh, I'm not really a concept artist. I don't really like doing concept art, but I'm going to put this one little sheet of like a box design I did of a turnaround. You will get 5,000 emails about being a box turnaround guy. I promise you, it's the best way to get typecast is to do something you don't want to do, put it on your portfolio. I guarantee you'll get hired to do that until your last breath. So only put stuff up there that you want to do in styles that you want to do. Your portfolio doesn't have to be everything you've ever made. If you want to do a post that talks about here's how far I've come in 4 years, here's what I made 4 years ago, here's a remake of that piece, go for it. And that could also be fan art. Hey, I love Dragon Ball Z. Sadly, Akira Toriyama passed away this year. Here's some old high school art I did, and here's where I'm at now. It's amazing how far you come. There's a theme to that. Like, okay, you're showing your personal growth and that you still have love for this thing, the thing being Akira Toriyama and Dragon Ball Z. It makes sense in your portfolio. It shows your taste. It shows what your skill level is, yes, but more so, what are you passionate about? What are you bringing to the table? Everybody has their own story, and that's why they hire you instead of anybody else. So be the least risky option. Be somebody that understands the material that you're making, that truly enjoys it and kind of loves it, because that's infectious. That shows through on the work. But just make stuff you like making. Just do that, because you're going to want to do more of it. You're going to want to make more of it. You're going to get more practice. More time with a pencil or a stylus or paintbrush in your hand is better. You're going to get better because you're doing it more. Like, it's the cycle. So if you love making fan art, do fan art. Hell, if all you want to do is fan art. I mean, I know a lot of bands that are just cover bands and they make a ton of money. You know what I mean? So hey, just kind of, I know it sounds weird that the moral of the story is do what you want, but do what you want. Like, really, what do you want? Do you want to work for DC or Marvel or Image Comics? If so, look at what they're doing and see if you can maybe emulate the style. Maybe can you do something of your own in that style after you get done learning it? Or, you're always going to be learning it, but I mean, okay, I've done a few master studies. Let me try to make one in my style using what I've learned. You're going to see immense growth. And that's going to be the thing that an art director or a hiring manager at a company is going to see. Hey, this person's passionate. They love what they love. We're making this project. It's based on this stuff. Would you like to be a part of it? You'll get a lot of those emails. I promise you. So yeah, go out there, do your thing, man. Show us what you love, because I guarantee if you love it and you're kind of infectious with your love of it, you're going to show other people why you love it. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're going to see it and be like, yeah, that is awesome. Maybe I should look into this. Man, that's really cool. I'm glad you made that. Yeah, just a lot. There's a whole other video about like fan art at conventions and like selling prints and stuff, which I'm like, with fan art stuff, I don't know. But we won't talk about that here. If you guys want that episode, let me know. I do have opinions on it, not to say they're gospel or the law. I'm no lawyer, trust me, especially a copyright lawyer. But, I got some thoughts on it. But I would say, hey, thank goodness now the stigma of fan art is gone. Fan art is actually something to be applauded and proud of. Go out there, go make some. Let's see what you like and see kind of what your spin on it is. And you'll be surprised at what you learn. But that is my time. I hope you all have been doing very, very well. How was that solar eclipse, man? That total eclipse, I should say. That was crazy. Felt like nighttime for like 5 minutes. The whole family was in the backyard. It was wild stuff, man. Super cool. Really, really cool. You could feel the temperature drop like immediately. It was really bizarre. It felt weird. It felt like I was in a painting, actually. Like it was this weird disconnected from reality thing. It was really cool. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, hopefully you had a fine, a fine eclipse, and hope you're doing well. But yeah, I have 2 more videos in the pipe right now. One of them, I'm actually adjusting a lot of sound levels on it and stuff. It's taking a little bit longer than normal. I think you guys will be happy with that video, though. It has somebody in the family in it. I won't give away who it is, but it should be a fun one. And then the other one is actually a little more robust in nature. So we'll take a look at that one, too. But yeah, we will see you then. Hope you're doing well. Go make some cool fan art. Can't wait to see what you cook up. And until we meet again, we'll see you next time.